gardeners, I am here today to talk about flowers in your garden and how to extend your bloom time for both your perennials and your annuals. I'm going to start here with calendula. This is in our zone here. It is a self-sowing annual. So what that means is as the seeds drop, it will re-sow itself for next year, but otherwise it's an annual. So the difference between annuals and perennials are annuals grow for one season only. Perennials grow back from the same base of the plant year after year after year. So a self-sowing annual is something that drops its seeds, and the seeds are by climate and moisture and all the growth requirements are able to reseed themselves, but they will not come back as the same plant as last year. They will come back as a new plant, so a new annual that will grow for one season. So here for the calendulas, to extend the bloom time, first thing I want to do is I'm going to cut out all of the seed heads that have started forming, and they look like this. This is one. I'm looking for one that is just starting to bloom that looks, so compared to this one, which is a new flower head about to start, so side by side comparison, this one is a spent blossom and this one is a ready to start, so you don't want to cut that one out. To cut out the seed heads, I'm going to follow it all the way down to where it meets the plant and just give it a little snip and then compost it. So I'm going to cut out all the seed heads here, and I'm also going to cut back, I'm going to cut off a whole bunch of the flowers also. The more with annuals, the more you cut them, the more they will keep blooming. So again, I'm going to follow the stem down to where it meets the rest of the plant and give a nice clean snip there. These are great plants for cut flowers as well as amazing medicinal properties. We'll save the medicinal part for another time. So I have a little yogurt container of water available here that I'll put my cut flowers in. You can also hand pick the seed pod. So sometimes a two-handed approach, so holding the plant and just popping off the seed head. That does leave that, which doesn't look that nice, but in a big planting like this, you might not really notice it. Here I am with the snapdragons. These are one of my favorite flowers to add to any garden for a good pack of color and bloom, and these will bloom all the way through fall until we get a hard freeze. So they are just a great thing to have in your garden. So to cut these, I'm going to follow the stem back, and the further back you cut them, the more chances they have for branching. So it might be an inclination to cut them way up here, but I'm actually going to follow the stem down. So a lot of these are single leaves, but here there's a single big leaf, and then in the node there between the stem and the leaf, there is a little branch. So I'm going to cut just above that branch, and then these branches will take over and grow flowers from there. So it'll make a bushier plant with more bloom. Nice sharp scissors, give it a nice snip. And then before I put these in water, I'm going to strip off some of the leaves so the water won't get so kind of builds up some mucilage if you leave the leaves on the plant. So I just hold the stem nice and firm without crushing it, and I just strip the leaves off like so, and then put it in my water. Do another one here. So follow it down, find a good place to cut for branching. Strip the leaves off. Put it in the water. Alright, so on to perennials. This here is Echinacea, or purple coneflower, scientific name Echinacea purpurea. And yes, it is that medicinal echinacea that we hear about. So I really want to extend the bloom time of this plant. This is another one that will bloom all through fall if encouraged. And so this flower here, I'm going to cut out some of the flowers, but I also want to be sure to leave some flowers for the pollinators. So as a perennial, this one will grow back from the base of the exact same plant. It also will do some self-sowing. So as it drops seeds, it will create new echinacea plants. And within 5 years, this whole area will be full of Echinacea plants, which is pretty cool. So to get some more blooms from this plant, I am going to cut this back. And here it becomes a little bit of a dilemma. So I see that this one, when it starts kind of getting this shooting star look and the leaves tip back like that, it is on its later stages in its flowering time. So I definitely want to cut this flower back. I see there's a new bloom coming on here. See how the petals, they're actually modified petals, they go upward. This is a new bloom, but then if we look down the whole leaf, the whole stem, it's not very healthy looking. So this, I'm actually gonna cut it all the way down to the base. I have a rule of thumb with gardening, no bad leaves. You might have heard me say that before. It's a great way to help keep pests and disease out of your garden. You see a bad leaf, cut it out, pick it out, get rid of it. So I'm gonna go all the way down to the base, all the way down here, all the way down to where it's coming from the plant, and snip that out. And then you can add this flower to your vase bouquet if you wanted to. For now, we're just gonna lay it down and come over to the next set of plants. So here we have some really healthy, nice looking plants. This bloom is kind of getting to that advanced age. And if I follow the stem down, I see that we have this nice new bud coming. So I'm going to give about ½ inch space from that new bud. When we cut back, the plant will want to heal itself and we'll have a little bit of dieback. So we want to make sure that it doesn't die back past that new bloom. So giving about ½ inch, ¼ inch is probably fine too. Nice cut there. Again, I'll just peel the leaves off and I will add this to my bouquet. So again, with both perennials and annuals, the more you cut them, the more they will bloom. At a certain stage in the season, I will stop cutting them back and let them go to seed. And I will leave the seed heads in the garden. They provide really important food for migrating birds. Goldfinches are one that come to mind that love to pick off the seeds of the Echinacea in the fall when they're on their migration. So it's mid-August now, probably mid-September, I will stop cutting any flowers and just let them go to seed for the rest of the time. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to email me or reach out to us at the Ray Center. Have a great day and happy gardening.